Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and I wanted to give you all the info that we know right now about the Monster Hunter movie that is currently shooting in South Africa, and then finally my thoughts on the whole thing. The premise, and this is not a joke, is pretty far away from what the games are. A military team for the UN, led by Artemis, which is played by Milla Jovovich, are transported to another realm filled with ferocious monsters. There they have to team up with a hunter, and must work together to survive and close the portal before the monsters are able to invade Earth. In the final act, we end up going back to Earth where there's an epic battle in and around LAX. The story is set as an open setting so that they can create sequels to it. Told you I'm not joking, right? It doesn't sound like Monster Hunter, right? Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's dig in a little bit more. First off, the crew. Basically, think of this as the Resident Evil team with new faces. The film is being shot in South Africa with a budget of about $50 million, which is pretty much comparable to the Resident Evil films. The movie's being written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson and produced by long friend Jeremy Bolt at Impact Pictures. Anderson before had said in an interview, "What I love about Monster Hunter is the incredibly beautiful immersive world that they've created. It's on the level of a Star Wars movie in terms of world creation. There are no real central characters, so it's a bit like when we first approached Resident Evil and imposed our own characters and story on that world. I think this is the perfect IP for us to do exactly the same thing again." On the Constantine film side, we have two producers, which is Robert Kulzer and Martin Moskovich. I'm sorry, I'm butchering these names. As far as film talent goes, of course we have Milla Jovovich playing Lieutenant Artemis of the UN military, T.I. Harris as Link the Sniper, Diego Boneta as a communication specialist on her team, and for the Hunter side we know that we have Tony Jaa playing the Hunter, and none other than Ron Perlman playing the Admiral from Monster Hunter World. Now, we don't know the roles, but we do know that Meagan Good and Josh Hellman are on board as well. Shooting has started outside Cape Town, and my guess is that we might actually see one of the Moran monsters based on the previous interview which I quoted, in which Anderson says, "The Monster Hunter world includes these huge deserts that make the Gobi Desert look like a sandbox, and they have ships that sail through the sand. These are full-on galleons, but rather than sailing on ocean waves, they sail through waves of sand. You're fighting these giant creatures, some as big as a city block. They live underneath the earth, and when they bust out, it's like the best of Dune." My thoughts. It's pretty obvious that they're using the world and name of Monster Hunter to just tell their own original story. In fact, like the interview I was just quoting earlier, Paul Anderson has said the exact same thing, so don't expect this film to capture the essence or the story of the games. I mean, just look at the plot that they are selling.
The movie takes place in a world behind our own where dangerous and powerful monsters rule their domain with deadly ferocity. When Lieutenant Artemis and her loyal soldiers are transported from our world to the new world, the unflappable lieutenant receives the shock of her life. In her desperate battle for survival against enormous monsters with incredible powers, Artemis will team up with a mysterious man who has found a way to fight back. The film tells the story of two heroes that come from different worlds to defeat a shared danger, the powerful, deadly, and magnificent monsters that inhabit the land. Along the way, viewers will make new discoveries and encounter familiar faces and beloved characters from the games like the Admiral.
I'm sorry, I laugh every time I have to say something like that. I think we can expect a more on-brand approach from the full animated film called Legends of the Guild, which is coming out next year. For this film, I'm just expecting it to be like a B-rated flick. Enjoy seeing talented actors try to make a bad script with one-liners good, a story that was feeling like it was written by someone who's never played Monster Hunter, but matched with pretty cool special effects and CG monsters. I think if you go in it with expectations like that, then there might be some fun to be had. I know there's a lot of die-hard fans out there that are against adaptations like this that don't feel like they're staying true to the series, but I mean, of course you have to hold judgment until you actually see it, but I can understand why they're a little pessimistic about it based on the story premise that we've heard so far. But honestly, a bad movie has never hurt a gaming franchise before, so I do think that it's a little bit about worrying over nothing. Either way, we have this film coming out and the animated film, which does sound like it's going to be true to the series. So I mean, more Monster Hunter is pretty good, and I think if this helps give it even more mainstream attention, regardless of how good or bad the movie is, I think it will help the franchise in the long run. So I don't know. Don't count me as saying that this movie is going to be great, because I don't think it will be, but I have my support, and I'll look forward to watching it with, of course, the expectations that I stated earlier. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts? A movie like this, should it never exist? Does it have a place of just having its own adaptation? Let me know your thoughts down below, I'd love to read them. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy hunting.